Welcome, dear learner. Before any journey begins, there is always a quiet moment where curiosity wakes up. In this moment, we ask simple questions that lead to powerful changes. Why do talented people fail? Why does success sometimes disappear as quickly as it comes? And why does learning feel harder when we believe we already know enough? Today's story opens a door to these questions and gently pulls you inside. Stay with each sentence, listen to each idea, and let the meaning grow slowly. This is not a loud story, but a deep one, and its message can quietly change the way you think, learn, and live. Ego is a small word, but it carries heavy weight in everyday life. It appears when confidence turns into pride and when ambition forgets humility. Ego whispers that we are special, finished, or better than others. It tells us we do not need to listen, practice, or improve anymore. At first, ego feels like strength because it gives comfort and certainty. Over time, it becomes a wall that blocks growth and understanding. Learning slows down because curiosity fades away. This is where many journeys silently stop without anyone noticing. In the beginning of any path, there is openness and hunger to learn. The mind is fresh, patient, and willing to accept mistakes as teachers. Progress happens quickly because effort is honest and focused. Ego often enters quietly at this stage, wearing the mask of confidence. It suggests shortcuts instead of discipline and praise instead of practice. The work becomes about looking good instead of becoming better. When ego grows, the foundation becomes weak, even if success appears strong on the outside. True growth demands long periods of silence, repetition, and discomfort. These moments are not exciting, and they do not bring applause. Ego dislikes silence because silence exposes weakness and limitation. It wants quick results, fast recognition, and constant validation. When ego leads, attention moves away from the work itself. Improvement slows because the focus is no longer on learning. Over time, this creates a gap between potential and reality, and that gap quietly expands. Failure is one of the greatest teachers available, but ego often refuses to attend its lessons. When something goes wrong, ego looks for excuses instead of understanding. It blames timing, people, or unfair systems rather than personal choices. This prevents honest reflection and blocks responsibility. Without responsibility, there is no correction, and without correction, there is no progress. Failure then repeats itself in different forms. What could have been a lesson becomes a cycle. Success creates a different kind of danger that is harder to see. When achievements arrive, ego grows louder and more confident. It starts to believe success is permanent and guaranteed. The habits that created success begin to feel unnecessary or boring. Attention shifts from effort to image, from learning to maintaining status. This is where decline often begins, quietly and slowly. Ego turns success into a fragile place instead of a strong foundation. Humility is often misunderstood as weakness, but it is actually clarity. Humility allows the mind to stay open even after progress. It accepts that learning never truly ends. With humility, mistakes become information instead of threats. Feedback becomes guidance rather than insult. Growth continues because curiosity remains alive. In this space, improvement becomes steady and deep, not fast and shallow. Discipline plays an important role in keeping ego under control. Discipline creates structure when motivation disappears. It focuses on daily effort rather than emotional highs. Ego prefers inspiration and excitement, but discipline prefers consistency. When discipline leads, progress becomes predictable and strong. The work is done even when no one is watching. This quiet effort builds real skill and real confidence over time. Another challenge ego creates is comparison with others. Ego constantly measures value through external results. It asks who is ahead and who is behind. This comparison steals focus and energy from personal growth. Learning becomes competitive instead of meaningful. The journey turns into a race without a clear finish line. Peace disappears because someone else always seems to be doing better. Patience is one of the first qualities ego tries to remove. Ego wants results now and rewards immediately. It struggles to accept slow progress and long timelines. Real mastery, however, grows slowly and steadily. Patience allows understanding to deepen and skills to mature. It creates space for reflection and correction. Without patience, learning remains surface level and incomplete. Ego also affects communication and listening. When ego is strong, listening becomes shallow. The mind prepares answers instead of absorbing information. Important details are missed because attention is divided. Growth depends heavily on listening, especially to uncomfortable truths. When ego steps back, listening improves naturally. Understanding deepens because the mind becomes quiet and receptive. Letting go of ego does not mean losing ambition or confidence. It means placing growth above image and learning above pride. Confidence rooted in effort is stable and calm. It does not need constant proof or applause. This type of confidence grows stronger with time and experience. It survives failure and adapts during success. Ego, on the other hand, needs protection and attention to survive. Every stage of life presents a choice between ego and growth. The choice appears in small moments, not dramatic ones. It appears when feedback is offered, when mistakes happen, or when success arrives. Choosing growth requires honesty and humility. It requires returning to beginner thinking again and again. This choice shapes the quality of learning and the direction of life. In the end, ego is not an enemy to fight aggressively, but a signal to observe carefully. Awareness weakens ego more than force ever could. By staying curious, disciplined, and patient, growth continues naturally. Learning becomes a lifelong process instead of a temporary phase. Progress becomes meaningful rather than noisy. And in that quiet, steady progress, true success is built, without ego standing in the way.